The cold was not just outside now, it had entered Theory's bones. Her legs were sore, her lips cracked. She had not slept in days, but she did not stop. The baby, Leo, as she now called him, was everything. She wrapped him in soft cloth and pressed him against her chest. His small breaths kept her strong. Every time his tiny fingers moved, she felt a reason to go on. But if she didn't find shelter soon, they would both die. She had heard an old story when she was young. Far beyond the snow hills, past the dead frost trees, there was a secret cave, a place where the ice itself burned. The story was told to scare children, but now she hoped it was real. Theory climbed the steep hill with shaking feet. Her eyes burned from the wind. The storm clouds were returning. Snowflakes spun like knives in the air. At the top she spotted a strange shimmer in the snow, a crack, a deep line glowing faintly with light. Her heart jumped. She stepped closer. The crack widened beneath her weight, and with a sudden crack thump, the snow gave way. Theory fell, sliding down a hidden slope until she landed in darkness. But not cold. Warmth. She gasped. The cave walls glowed with red-orange light, not from fire but from deep crystal veins. The heat wrapped around her like a blanket. She pulled Leo from her cloak. His cheeks turned pink again. His eyes opened. He blinked, confused but calm. Theory laughed, just a little. "We found it," she whispered. "The fire cave is real." The cave was ancient. It smelled of old stone and forgotten metal. She explored carefully, holding Leo in one arm. Strange machines stood in the corners, half buried in snow and moss. Alien symbols glowed faintly on the walls. There were pieces of human technology here, long lost, broken, left behind. And in the center of the cave, a heat crystal, altar pulsed like a beating heart. The air around it was warm, even sweet. A perfect place to rest. Theory placed Leo on a soft patch of fur near the crystal. He yawned, curled up, and fell asleep. She smiled, then fell to her knees. The moment her body touched the warm floor, all her strength slipped away. When she woke up, hours had passed. The baby was still sleeping peacefully. Theory stood slowly. She touched one of the old machines. A small light blinked. A voice echoed softly in the room. Biological life form detected. DNA unknown. Hybrid confirmed. She jumped back. The voice continued. "Welcome, child of Virelia. Your presence has reactivated this shelter. Emergency mode engaged." Her eyes widened. "This place knows me?" As she explored deeper, she found a journal, burned on the edges, inside a metal box. The words were old, but readable, written in human language. Day 43. The Virelian woman is gone. She left the child behind. I don't blame her. It's too cold. I've hidden him in the cave. If anyone finds this, please keep him warm. He's just a baby. His name is Leo. Theory stared at the page. The baby had been here before. Maybe not the same baby. Maybe a story that repeated itself. Or maybe fate. She looked at the child. Leo stirred in his sleep. Whatever had happened here years ago, she had now become part of it. Suddenly the cave shook slightly. Loose snow fell from above. Then footsteps. Theory ran to the edge of the cave, her heart pounding. In the snow above, a shadow moved, a figure tall and armed, wearing dark armor. Not from her village, not from Earth either. A Virelian enforcer, sent by the regional patrol. They scanned for strange energy signals across the land. They had found the cave. She ducked behind a crystal, holding her breath. But the baby made a soft noise, a tiny sneeze. The figure paused, turned, and began to descend. Theory gritted her teeth. She had found warmth, she had found shelter, she had found truth. But now, they had found her, and she wasn't going to let them take Leo. Not without a fight. Theory's breath caught in her throat. From behind the glowing crystal, she clutched the baby tighter. The warmth of the cave still pulsed gently through the walls, but her heart beat like thunder. Footsteps echoed above, heavy, slow, and sure. Not a villager, not a wild animal. This was something trained, something dangerous. A shadow appeared at the mouth of the cave. The figure stepped in. He was tall, wrapped in thick black armor, the symbol of the Varelian Imperial Patrol glowing on his shoulder. His helmet had a red visor that scanned the cave. With a soft hum, he wasn't here to help. He was here to hunt. Theory backed away silently, holding Leo close. He stirred but didn't cry. She whispered gently, "Shh, please don't make a sound." The soldier turned slowly, scanning every inch of the cave. His voice rang out, calm but cold. "Whoever is hiding, come out. I know you're here, and I know you have the child." Theory's body tensed. Child. How did he know? Then she remembered. The heat signal, the reactivated tech. It must have sent a beacon. They had been found by the Empire's scanners, and now the baby she saved was a target. "I'm not your enemy," Theory said at last, stepping out from behind the crystal. The soldier turned sharply. He lowered his weapon slightly, surprised to see a young alien girl holding a human baby wrapped in furs. His voice changed, still serious, but now unsure. What are you doing with that human?" Theory didn't flinch. He was left in the snow. "I found him. I saved him." The soldier's visor lifted. His face was strong, scarred, but not cruel. "I'm Commander Drex. I serve the Outer Varelian Patrol. We received signals from this ancient site. Human tech was activated. That's illegal." Theory's eyes narrowed. "Illegal to save a life?" Drex stepped closer. "That child is not just any human," he said slowly. "He's tagged. I've scanned him already. His DNA was marked by an off-world group. He's valuable." "Valuable?" she asked, stepping back. "He's just a baby." Drex shook his head. "No. He's a political weapon, a lost heir. If you hand him to the wrong side, you'll start another war." Theory's hands tightened protectively around Leo. "I don't care about your war. I only care that he's alive." Drex stared at her. Something changed in his eyes. He lowered his weapon. "Listen, I was told to report and retrieve, but I'm giving you a chance to walk away. Tonight. Disappear. Leave the child. And no one will know you were here." Theory laughed bitterly. "You want me to leave him in the cold again?" "I'm trying to protect you," Drex said quietly. "Your kind will never accept what you're doing. They'll exile you, or worse." She looked down at Leo. He was awake now, looking up at her with trusting eyes. "I've already made my choice," she whispered. Drex looked torn. He stepped closer and pulled a small device from his belt. "This is a signal jammer. It'll block the beacon you accidentally sent." "Take it." Theory didn't move. "Why are you helping me?" she asked. Drex looked away. "Because I once saw my sister do the same thing. Long ago. She helped a human child during the old war. They killed her for it." His jaw clenched. "Maybe I should have helped her. Maybe it's not too late to help someone now." He dropped the device on the floor, turned away, and walked to the cave exit. "You have one night," he said without turning around. "Then others will come, and they won't show mercy." As he vanished into the snow, Theory stood in silence. Leo cooed in her arms, unaware of the danger around them. But Theory knew one thing now. They had to leave. Fast. The warmth of the cave had saved them once, but staying here would kill them next. That night, as the storm returned to the sky, Theory packed what little she had. She placed the signal jammer into her cloak and wrapped Leo tighter. She whispered into his ear, "We'll find another place. A safer place." But in her heart she feared the truth. There may be no safe place left. Only cold. Only danger. And one fragile thread of warmth between her and the child she chose to save. The snow was falling hard on the frozen world of Virilia. Icy winds howled through the white mountains. It was the worst blizzard of the year. Nothing moved outside, not even the strong animals that could live in the cold. Everyone stayed inside their caves, warm and hidden. But one figure walked through the storm. Her name was Theory. She was a young alien girl with pale blue skin and long white hair. Her eyes glowed softly in the dark, helping her see through the blizzard. She wore a thick fur cloak and boots made from frostbeast skin. Theory had come outside for one reason: to be alone. She had argued with her father that morning. He was a proud warrior of their clan and hated humans. "They are weak, noisy and dangerous," he said. "We don't help them. Ever." But Theory didn't agree. She had read old stories and found them interesting. She walked farther away from her village, her breath fogging in the air. Then she stopped. A sound, very soft, a tiny cry. Theory's heart jumped. It didn't sound like any animal she knew. It was high-pitched, full of pain and fear. She moved quickly, following the sound across the snowy hill. The wind pushed against her, but she kept going. Her boots sank into the deep snow. Her cloak whipped around her body. But she didn't stop. And then she saw it. Lying in the snow was a small shape, wrapped in what looked like torn cloth. The shape moved just a little. Another weak cry came out. Theory ran toward it and fell to her knees. She brushed the snow away with shaking hands. A baby. A human baby. He was tiny, barely the size of her arm. His face was red and freezing. His fingers were turning purple. He was crying, but his voice was getting weaker. Theory's heart broke. "No," she whispered. "Who left you here?" She looked around. Nothing. No ship, no tracks, no other people. Just snow and wind. She knew one thing. If she left him here, he would die in minutes. Her hands moved fast. She opened her cloak and pulled the baby close to her chest. She wrapped him in her body heat, using her own warmth to protect him. Her species could handle cold much better than humans, but even she felt the sting now. The baby stopped crying. His tiny eyes opened for a second. He looked at her, confused and weak. "It's okay," she said softly. "I've got you." She began to walk, holding him tight against her chest. But now, a new problem came. She couldn't go back to her village. If her father or the elders saw the human child, they would leave him to die. Or worse, kill him themselves. Her people didn't trust humans. They believed humans would bring war, sickness, or danger. So Theory turned and headed the other way. Far from home. Far from safety. Snow fell faster. The sky grew darker. Her legs ached. Her arms were numb. But she kept walking. The baby whimpered again. "I won't let you die," she whispered. "I promise." She remembered stories her mother once told her about love, about sacrifice, about how even enemies could become family when hearts were open. Now she finally understood those stories. Hours passed. The wind screamed louder. Theory's body was cold, her lips turning blue, but she held the baby even closer. She found a small hollow under a large rock just big enough to shield them from the worst of the storm. She crawled in, still cradling the child. She took off her gloves and placed her hands on the baby's back, giving him all the heat she had left. "Stay alive," she whispered. "Just stay alive." As the night deepened and snow covered the world, Theory curled around the baby like a shield. Her eyes slowly closed. But before sleep took her, she heard the soft sound of breathing. The baby was still alive. And for now, that was enough. The morning sun rose slowly over the snowy world of Virelia. Pale golden light touched the frozen hills, but it gave no warmth. The storm had passed, but the cold still bit deep. Theory's eyes opened slowly. Her body hurt. Her fingers were stiff. Her skin felt like ice. But her first thought was not about herself. She looked down. The human baby was still in her arms, alive. His little face was red from the cold, but his chest moved up and down. He made a soft noise, not a cry, but a sound of peace. Theory smiled, weakly. "You made it," she whispered. "You're stronger than you look." But now came a new problem. She had to feed him, keep him warm, keep him alive, and she had nowhere to go. A few hours later, Theory stood outside the hollow, holding the baby close to her chest. She looked toward the distant white cliffs. Her village was behind them. She could go back. They had fire, food, warm rooms, and medicine, but they also had rules. Rules that said, "Do not help humans." Rules that said, "Kill them or leave them to die." Her people feared humans. Many years ago, there had been war. Humans had come to Viralia with machines and loud weapons. They had burned forests and taken crystal mines. Her father fought in that war. He still carried the scars. He still carried the hate. Theory thought about hiding the baby and sneaking in to get supplies. Maybe she could find milk, soft cloth, something to feed him. She took a deep breath and started walking. At the edge of the village, tall ice towers shimmered in the sunlight. Thin steam came from vents under the snow. The air inside the village was warmer than the outside world thanks to underground heat stones. Theory pulled her hood low over her face. She wrapped the baby tighter against her body and walked quietly past the guards. No one stopped her. Inside her home, she moved fast. She found a small leather flask filled with Nutrimilk, something her kind gave to weak elders. It was not perfect for a human child, but it would keep him alive for now. She grabbed a soft cloth wrap, a heat crystal, and a small pouch of dried snowberries. Then, she heard a voice behind her. "Theory? Why are you back so soon?" It was Lurak, her childhood friend. His eyes narrowed when he noticed her hiding something under her cloak. "You're shaking," he said, "and you smell like human." Her heart raced. I just needed some things. I'm leaving again." "For what?" he asked, stepping closer. "You were out all night. Your father is looking for you. He thinks something attacked you." She stepped back. "Tell him I'm fine. Just don't follow me." Lurak's voice grew cold. "You're hiding something." Before, he could grab her arm. She turned and ran out the back door. Snow flew behind her as she rushed past the houses, past the crystal fields, and out into the wild again. She didn't stop until the village was far behind. Back at the hollow, the baby was crying softly. She pulled out the Nutrimilk and held the small bottle to his lips. He drank slowly, his tiny hands grabbing her finger. Theory sighed in relief. "You really want to live, don't you?" she whispered. "Then I'll help you, no matter what." But she knew now. She couldn't go home again. Someone would talk. Someone would tell her father. And he would come looking. She had broken the law. She had touched a human. She had saved a human. That night, as the wind picked up again, Theory held the baby close and looked up at the stars. Somewhere out there, this baby had a family. Maybe they were dead. Maybe they crashed. Maybe he had no one left. But now, he had her. She didn't know what tomorrow would bring, but she knew one thing. She would protect him, even if her own people turned against her, even if it meant leaving everything behind, because the moment she heard his cry in the snow, her heart changed. The wind howled like a wounded beast across the white plains. Theory stood at the edge of the glowing cave. Leo pressed tightly to her chest. His body was warm, his breath steady. But danger was closing in from all sides. The warmth of the fire. Cave had saved them once, but it had also lit up the sky with a beacon, calling hunters like moths to flame. She could not hide anymore. She had to run. Before leaving, she turned back one last time. The cave was ancient, beautiful, and safe. But it wasn't a home. Not anymore. She whispered, "Thank you," to the crystals and stepped into the storm. The signal jammer that Commander Drex had given her buzzed quietly in her cloak, masking their movements for now. But it wouldn't last forever. Theory knew. Her only chance was to reach the old research station, an abandoned human shelter deep beyond the death fields, a land so cold even her kind avoided it. No one would search there, because no one would survive there. She pulled the ice sled from the hidden cave wall, one left behind by human explorers years ago. It was small, metal, and shaky, but it worked. She placed Leo inside, wrapping him with every layer of fur and cloth she had. He smiled at her through the wrappings, his tiny hand reaching up toward her face. Theory's heart melted. "You don't even know how dangerous this world is," she whispered. She kissed his forehead. Then she pulled the sled forward and began the long, deadly journey. The wind was brutal. It cut through her skin like sharp glass. Her legs sank into deep snow. Her breath came out in clouds of fog. The land around her was flat, white, endless. Every step forward was a battle. Still, she walked hour after hour. No food, no rest, only snow, only silence. But silence didn't last long. Suddenly she heard a deep growl. She froze. From beneath the snow ahead, something moved. The ground rippled. She pulled the sled close, stood in front of Leo, and stared at the shifting snow. A cryowolf burst upward, massive, pale, and hungry. Its long body was made for snow, its eyes glowing icy blue, its breath colder than air. It had smelled weakness. It had smelled prey, and now it charged. Theory didn't think. She grabbed the broken alien shock rod she found in the fire cave and raised it. The rod sparked with a weak pulse. She screamed and ran toward the beast, not away. The cryowolf leapt, through the air. Theory dove to the side, rolled in the snow, and jabbed the rod into its leg. A flash of blue light cracked through the blizzard. The beast howled in pain and backed away. But the rod flickered and died. It wouldn't work again. The cryowolf circled her, slower now, more careful. Theory stood tall between it and Leo. She raised her arms and shouted, "I won't let you hurt him!" The beast lunged again, and suddenly a shockwave hit, the snow from above. The cryowolf stopped. Its ears twitched. A distant sound rumbled through the sky. Engines, ships. Theory looked up. Lights moved behind the clouds, multiple crafts, not Empire, not Varelian, human rescue shuttles. Her heart leapt, but her fear grew too. If they found her with Leo, would they trust her or shoot her on sight? The cryowolf ran off into the snow, startled by the sound of ships. Theory didn't wait. She pulled the sled as fast as her frozen legs would allow, heading straight for the dark hills in the distance. If she could reach the old research station before the ships landed, maybe they could hide. Maybe she could speak for Leo. Maybe someone would listen. Night fell again. Her body shook with exhaustion. Frost bit her hands, her toes, her lips. But still, she moved. The death fields lived up to their name. Frozen bones peeked out of the snow, old wrecks, lost travelers, broken machines, and in the distance finally she saw it, a dome, half buried in snow. Metal walls cracked with age. The old research station. She reached the door. It was frozen, shut. She fell to her knees, pounding on it. "Please," she whispered. "Just open, just one time." She held Leo in her arms. His breath was slow now. Too slow. She pressed his small hand to the scanner. A soft beep echoed. Lights flickered. The door opened. Inside, heat lamps glowed weakly. Theory dropped to the floor and cradled Leo in the center of the room. The warmth touched their skin, melting the frost. He coughed once, then let out a tiny breath. She cried, real tears, not from pain, from hope. The old research station groaned like a sleeping giant waking from a 100-year nap. Flickering lights buzzed overhead. Cold air pushed through broken vents. but inside, it was warm enough to live. Theory knelt on the cracked floor holding Leo close. His tiny eyes blinked open, then closed again. His cheeks were pink. His fingers moved slowly, gently. He was alive. She let out a long breath and whispered, "We made it." The station had been built by humans long ago, during the first wave of explorers. Now, rust covered the walls and ice crept through every corner. But the core heaters still worked. Barely. Theory laid Leo in an old supply basket filled with soft blankets she found. She searched the cabinets, hoping to find something, anything that could help him survive. Most machines were dead. But one control panel blinked. Quietly, she pressed a button. A voice spoke from a hidden speaker. Emergency system reactivated. Human child detected. Welcome, Leo 042. Protection protocol engaged. Her heart froze. This place knew him. It knew his name. Lights turned on. A soft hum filled the room. A small medical drone floated from a dark corner, scanning Leo with a beam of light. Vitals: low temperature, slight dehydration, but stable. Initiating warm care protocol. The drone hovered near Theory, scanning her next. She flinched, but didn't move. Virelian DNA detected, non-hostile. Record shows no threat. Level. Then something strange. Interspecies contact approved. Bond recorded. Status Guardian. Theory stared at the drone. Guardian. She wasn't just a stranger anymore. The station had marked her as Leo's protector. The heaters kicked on louder now. Warm air filled the room. Theory found a corner and sat down, wrapping herself in an old blanket. Her body trembled, not from cold anymore, but from everything she had gone through. She looked at the tiny human boy, now sleeping peacefully, surrounded by light and warmth. He didn't know how close he had come to dying. He didn't know how hard she had fought for him, and maybe he never would. But that was okay, because love didn't need to be explained. It only needed to be given. Hours passed. Theory explored the other rooms, quiet halls, shattered labs, old bunk beds frozen in place. But in the far back, she found something that made her stop. A picture, framed on the wall, under a layer of frost. It showed a human woman holding a Virelian baby. The woman smiled. The child laughed. Underneath it read, "Hope is not born from war. It is born from care." Theory touched the glass and whispered, "Is this the path I'm walking now?" Just then a loud buzz echoed through the station. The front alert panel lit up. Ships incoming. She rushed to the main screen. 3 blips, 1 small, 2 large. Human rescue ships, just like Drex had warned. They were almost here. She ran back to Leo. The drone hovered nearby, still watching him. Theory looked around. She could hide. She could escape out the back and leave the child to safety. But she didn't want to run anymore. Not now. Not after everything. If the humans were coming, they had to see her for who she truly was. Not an enemy, not a creature, not a danger, but a guardian. She took Leo in her arms and stood near the main door. The station shook slightly as the first ship landed outside. Snow blew in through cracks in the walls. Footsteps came closer. Voices in human language shouted commands. Weapons. Ready. The outer door hissed open. A group of human soldiers stepped in, helmets on, rifles raised. They froze when they saw her, an alien girl holding a human baby. Theory did not move. She didn't speak. She simply pressed her hand gently on Leo's chest and waited. One soldier lowered his weapon. He removed his helmet. His eyes were wide. He spoke softly into his radio. "This is Captain Harlow. We've found the child. He's alive. And there's an alien with him. Not hostile." "Another," soldier whispered. "What is she doing here?" Captain Harlow looked closely and saw everything. The worn clothes, the cracked skin, the bruises, the tired, tearful eyes. She hadn't captured the baby. She had saved him. He walked forward slowly, Theory stayed still. Leo blinked awake and looked up at the human. Then he turned his head and rested against Theory's shoulder. Captain Harlow smiled. He reached into his coat and held out a soft, warm blanket. He nodded. You kept him alive, didn't you? Theory finally spoke, her voice soft and shaking. Yes. The sky above Viralia finally began to clear. The snow still fell gently, but the fierce winds had stopped. For the first time in many days, the sun broke through the clouds, a soft, golden light touching the white hills like a blessing from above. Inside the old research station, warmth and peace had replaced fear. Leo slept quietly in Theory's arms, wrapped in the blanket given by the humans. His tiny hands curled around her finger. His chest rose and fell in calm rhythm. She didn't want to let him go. Not now. Not ever. Captain Harlow stood near the door, talking into his communicator. Medical team is preparing for liftoff, he said. Child is stable. Alien Guardian is not aggressive. Repeat, not aggressive. Requesting new orders. He looked back at Theory, then lowered his voice. She didn't just protect him. She risked everything. She deserves more than a thank you. Another soldier stepped closer to him. Sir, are we really bringing both of them aboard? Captain Harlow nodded slowly. We are. Theory didn't understand every word they said, but she could read their faces. No more hate. No more suspicion, only respect. Still, doubt stayed in her heart. Will they take him from me? She whispered. As if answering her, Harlow walked up and sat down in front of her. He spoke gently. You did something no soldier, no machine, no scanner could do. You saved a life, a human life. That makes you family to us. Theory blinked, surprised. I am not human. Harlow smiled. You don't have to be. He placed something in her hand, a Guardian ID token, newly printed by the station's printer core. It had her name on it, and one word under it. Protector. Tears filled her eyes. She didn't know humans cried too. Until now. As the rescue crew prepared the ship for takeoff, Theory looked around the station one last time. It had saved them, hidden them, and brought two worlds together without saying a single word. She whispered goodbye to the walls, the crystals, the silent machines. Then she stepped onto the ship. Inside it was bright and clean. The warmth was stronger than any cave. Strange smells filled the air, food, fabric, metal. Leo was placed in a special medical pod, soft and glowing with light. A human nurse checked him carefully. He's healthy, she said. You kept him warm just long enough. Theory sat nearby, not moving from his side. When someone offered her food, she accepted it with shaking hands. She had forgotten what hunger felt like. Hours passed as the ship lifted from the frozen surface. Outside, the endless snow grew smaller and smaller, until it disappeared beneath the clouds. Viralia was behind them now. A new world was ahead. As the ship moved through the stars, Theory stared out the window. Leo slept peacefully. A soft lullaby played from the speakers. Something human. Something gentle, and Theory finally allowed herself to dream. Not of war, not of fear, but of a home. Maybe not on Viralia, maybe not among her own kind, but somewhere. With Leo, where no storm could ever reach them again. Back on Viralia, Commander Drex stood at the mouth of the old cave. The crystals had gone dark. The tracks were gone, covered by fresh snow. He held his communicator tightly. She got out, he said to no one in particular. Good. He turned away, a small smile on his face, and disappeared into the snow. Months later, on a green planet far from Viralia, under a soft sun, a small human child ran through a garden. He laughed, chasing a floating drone through the flowers. Nearby, an alien woman sat watching him. Her hair was longer now, her eyes calmer. She wore human clothes, but around her neck was a pendant, carved from Verelian crystal. Inside the pendant was a picture of her holding a newborn baby in the snow. Theory smiled. She had found her home, not where she was born, but where her heart belonged. And every night when the stars came out, she told Leo the same story. How I heard a cry in the snow and found my reason to live.